Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold Genji who appears to be named Animane, because that makes sense. Maybe they're hoping for an Animane to nano boost them. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as it helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Interesting stream notifications. Sand gets everywhere. Yeah. Hey, welcome back, Blah. I know a little bit. Okay, open with the deflect. The classic work time temporal stream. Okay. I'm gonna do one of these at like 3 a.m. my time, just to mess with you on that, because you've always got a time. It's work time, it's lunch time, it's dinner time, it's snack time. I'm gonna do like 3 a.m. just to see what I get. No, I'm kidding. Okay, we're pushing up here. You're greeted that a little bit, given that that's a bastion. Given that that's a bastion, you greeted that a little bit. So we wanted to make sure we got out in time, and you ultimately did make it out in time. But what we're going to want to go ahead and do here is, now our priority is, like, basically as soon as we saw this bastion, was okay, if we're not going to get the deflect break would be great, is make sure we get our setup to take this down. This is gold. Let's see what you do in terms of setting up your angles, and preferably having your deflect for when you actually challenge him. This is not it. I don't really want to poke war with their bastion. I don't want to poke war with their bastion at all. Like, that's not even remotely what I'm interested in. I want to be spending this time where my deflect is on cooldown, getting myself to a different angle, so that I can go, not so that I can poke from a different angle, but so that I can potentially actually get in and potentially get on this for a more organized dive is too strong a word with what you have, but like you and Diva going in together type thing. Or at the very least, you going in after that Reinhardt's been forced out a little bit. Like, we're not just going to try to poke this. We are not taking a poke war through the Rhine shield into the Bastion. Not doing it. Okay. Why are we dashing at the Roadhog? The Roadhog still has like 40% health when we dashed him. No. And I have to use your deflect again while the Bastion's still on the board. I don't like it. I want to have my deflect for the Bastion. We got him. That's good. Good. Why am I dashing? Why would you dash here? No. Like, you could dash at the Bastion maybe and then immediately pop deflect if you're like, yes, Bastion's what we're doing, and my soldier is of course going to shoot at the Bastion with me. I don't know why we're so interested in this. Like, we do have to deal with this thing. I don't mind you chipping at the bat, but I really would be okay. You sort of have to one-track mind this. Now we're over on the Bastion, but if the Bastion was our target, why did we dash at the BAP? We could have tried to dash between them, airing on the Bastion side to make sure we got the damage on the Bastion. Okay, now that's, and now you can try and dash through the Reinhardt to get out. That would be perfectly fine. Or through the BAP to get out. Res happened, annoying but not a big deal. Why are we still fighting this straight on? We got healed up. We want to get ourselves back up over here so that we can at least fight from an angle. It's always worker snack time. There you go, Blah. There you go. Sure. You had your mercy, you had targets. I'm good with it. Contrary to your name, there's not an Nana in the game, so it wasn't going to become a Nano option later. I'm good with it. Okay, you got your angle. I have very little desire to do what you just did. Oh, that's way too big a rewind. I see the problem. So, this is a perfectly reasonable spot. And you can get yourself back up here easily and effortlessly. You can fall on this side and have total cover, and then you can hop right back up here. You can wall climb right back up here, whatever you want to do, and throw from angles again. Or walk over here and throw from angles. What I don't want to do, what I don't really have any interest in doing as Genji, is going, aha, I see a Roadhog who has 95% health, and I'm going to dash at them. No, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put myself in line of sight of the entire opposing enemy team to be the only one that can attack Roadhog because he's got cover against the rest of my team. Now, the one saving grace to this is you have deflect, and your deflect, because of where you dash to, you dash sort of to the outskirts of the fight, so you're still going to be on the outskirts of the fight. You can pop deflect to get here if you want, and then you can play around this. And that's not bad, or maybe you'll pop deflect and you'll do even better and get up here, which will be okay. I'd be more okay if you went here. But I was pretty happy with this spot. I didn't really have a need to drop this spot. If I was worried about the Roadhog, I could drop from here, throw some shurikens at them, then back off, and then come back here and throw more at the Roadhog. If I was worried about getting hooked or something. Like, I can break his attention by going and doing something useful over here. I don't really have a great desire to get over here. This spot is just worse. And I'm forcing my own deflect. This spot, there's a debate to be had for this spot. I preferred this one, but there's a debate to be had for this. But this dash, the only thing that's a saving grace for this dash is that it's still taking you to the edge of the fight, and you can sort of get out. But this isn't a good enough spot that it's getting you out too. So I really hope I'm wrong, and you're actually going to take on top of the garage. Zeds. You're not. You're not taking Zeds, which means this is just bad. This is just bad, unfortunately. And you had a good position before, too. Get on top of Zeds. Use it to take your space. Good. That's fine. Why did we... You don't win anymore. So you see how that worked? How you went, aha. You showed up here. You didn't use your deflect to get here, which would have been my preference. You see the Hanzo. You don't go, hey, I'm going to take the lead on the Hanzo. The Hanzo sees you, so now you're sort of in a stuck situation where you've either got to dash out, which isn't great, or you've got to dash at him and hope it's an isolated duel. But this is the problem with dashing at full health targets. Oh, turns out it's not an isolated duel. He does, in fact, have a mercy pocket. So now you've used your dash. It's not an isolated duel. You don't really have a way to get out of this fight, and you're just stuck in a bad fight. And Genji really doesn't like being stuck in a bad fight. And you got yourself stuck in this bad fight. You stuck yourself in this bad fight with your dash. Now you have deflect at least, but if you don't basically headshot deflect something here, you're doomed again because you're not using deflect to get out. So now you're just counting on evasive movement, and you're purely beating up on the fact that he's gold. You have no business surviving this long. You didn't get the mega? Interesting. See, you might be patting yourself on the back going, yeah, good job. I took down a pocketed Hanzo. Aren't I amazing? And I did it when I didn't have cooldowns and all this. And, you know, this isn't really good. Like, congrats, you out-mechanicked him. He can't aim up the way that is necessary for fighting Genjis. Like, given that you stuck yourself in that situation, you drove it reasonably, but you stuck yourself in this situation where you should have expected to lose, even against someone of a similar skill level. Even at this level where they're going to gold, where they're going to struggle to aim a bit, you shouldn't have expected to win that. You should have actually expected to get punished for not having both, for going in like that on the full health Hanzo when he then had a pocket and then not using your next deflect to get out or anything of the above. So that was disappointing, and it's not like you were doing this amazing job of like, well, I need to keep him distracted because if he's not, my team's going to get shredded type thing. Like, you just need to leave. You just need to be like, pop my deflect, hop myself up over here. Now I'm sort of safe again. Now I maybe drop. Now I go over here. Now maybe I climb back up with a cooldown to challenge again type thing after the Mercy leaves because she gets bored. Like, in one sense, yes, you outdrove the fight, but you shouldn't have been in it in the first place. So, like, cool, I guess.
I require assistance. Activated.
At least he was missing some health. We're fighting him in the seal station. We got him. Okay.
I require assistance. I need help.
Dashing through the fire strikes. Is that better or worse than prancing through the fire strikes? Less a fan of this one. Not a bad one, just a little less a fan than the previous one. And for those of you who might be confused, like Temporal, why aren't you saying this is a bad one? Like, isn't he ulting in a 5v2 situation or whatever the case may be? Not really. He's okay. Like, he's got this situation, yes, where there's 5 of him or 5 on his team and potentially 3 on the other team, but he then goes deeper with it to try to get more, and he's actually doing it to cancel the team fight. There is another team fight here if he doesn't cancel this. Would they potentially go win this team fight without the blade? Potentially, but again, this isn't something where he can wait for Nano and is going to get Nano, and without Nano, Blade isn't this decisive, oh, I'm just definitely going to go win the fight with this thing, or I'm definitely going to draw a disproportionate response. This is actually reasonable in terms of using ults to generate additional staggers to cancel the team fights. I'm good with it. It's basically I was used both of his blades now, but yeah, and he went deep to get more. Don't get stuck. You have to deny the health pack. You have to dash out. You don't have dash. You didn't use your deflect to leave, and you don't have dash. So you're here. You're sticking to his face without dash. No, your deflect should be to get out. Like, you know you cleared most of what's behind you. Yes, you have the mercy, but you did your job. You pop your deflect and be jumping backwards with the deflect to get yourself out here. You're not willing to use your deflect to leave enough, it looks like. Yeah. Instead, you're stuck waiting on your dash. They got your mercy. That helps. You don't have deflect, you're just praying that no one hits you. This is the right place to play from, but you don't really have the tools to maintain. And dash out? No. I don't really like this. So, here you are. Used your deflect, and now your deflect is ended, and you're here. Your deflect is ended, and you're basically in the middle of the lane. If your deflect ended here, so be it. If your deflect right as it ended, you peeked behind cover, that would be good. That I'd be great with. But you're just sitting in the middle, like, please shoot me. If they're not already shooting at you when you hit the deflect, like, the most reflect power you're going to get out of your deflect is right at the beginning of it. So that's like when you're going to get the most reflect damage out of your deflect. So you can actually be like, okay, now let me work my way over to here, and I can actually even leave while my deflect is still going. As long as I got the beginning of my deflect work done, it's actually okay for me to leave before my deflect is over. Yes, it's possible that I'll miss out on a little bit of someone trying to time my deflect and being wrong, and that's, hey, an extra burst of damage that I could have sent back in their direction, but really, is that extra burst of damage going to be A, are they going to be wrong or are they going to be right? B, is that extra burst of damage actually likely to help you finish off? Not nearly as much as it is, though, to finish you off. So, like, it's actually okay to close the angle before your deflect is over, but please, at the very least, don't be basically in the middle when your deflect ends. I don't know if a Nano Blade even is that definite a win. The number of times I'm like, okay, let's Nano Genji and get a showcase of all the CC in the game. But that's fine too, because I said a team fight win or its equivalent, or at least I am meant to. Because what happens is if you do the Nano Blade with the right timing, okay, we're going to try to use Hook. We're going to try to use Bash. We're going to try to use Flash. We're going to try to use Lucio Boop. We're going to try to use Diva Boosters. We're going to try to use the Ryan's going to turn around and try to pin him. We're going to try to use Sleep Dart. We're going to try to use Nade. Like, if all these things, or a collection of these things, all go into your Genji, that is a lot of resources being spent on your Genji over here as your team is running through the enemy team. And now they don't have these tools to defend themselves. Like, it is so much attention that gets forced onto a Nano Blade and then doesn't immediately eliminate it. If that kind of attention gets turned on a regular blade, the Genji immediately gets eliminated. If a nanobladed Genji gets bashed, for example, by no means is he necessarily eliminated. Like, aha, he's bashed and people are shooting at him. No, he's got that 50% damage reduction and full health from the nano to start. Like, and now he's close to something that he can slash at. Like, I'm not saying he's going to do a ton. He might get chain booped from there, but he's not immediately going to get eliminated. He might still get eliminated, but that's going to be a little more work. So people are going to have to pay attention to him because of the massive power threat that he is, and he has some damage reduction to hold on a little bit longer. And this should be happening while the team is running him over, while his team is running the other team over. Like, he should not have been like, aha, my team is over here, the enemy team is over here, and I'm right here. No, 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 no. This should be, my team is here, the enemy team is here, and I'm up here type thing. So, like, if the enemy team fully focuses on Genji as he falls, his team should be shooting them in the front, running them over, that sort of thing. So you're still going to win the team fight, and you're just going, okay, we're going to trade our ult. How do I put this? Here's how the game sort of works. Ults generally do the most work when your team goes, we're going to trade our CDs for your CDs. And then we're going to ult, and you are going to die. The other way it can work is we're going to trade our ult for your CDs, because CDs are the best thing besides ults to stop ults. And then we're going to use our CDs, and you're going to die. You see how that works? Like, that's the thing. And if they're going, no, we're using all of our CDs to tie this up, as long as your timing is right, then you're in a situation where, oh, the timing is right. So now all of the cooldowns that we have left get to wipe you out because you guys don't have cooldowns anymore. It is if they don't have an army of CC / you handle the CC properly. Yeah, basically. Though I expect them to have cooldowns. CDs are cooldowns. Oh, cool. I've never caught one of these live before. Hey, happy to have you here live. If you have questions, throw them in here. Take me back to physics canceling out units. Take me back to physics canceling out units. Physics canceling out units. Oh, I see where you're going because of the abbreviations I'm using. Okay. Takes me back to physics canceling out units. Okay. But it is important in that the timing, guys. Like, if you go I Nanoblade in alone, they use all their CDs, then they get to kite your team for an additional 3 seconds. Some of their CDs will come back, and they'll be fine, and you're down a person and you lose. Like, the timing is important when we're talking about that. Okay. Why do you think you can do this? You're here. I'm good with the deflect. Great. Hey, nice. Nice deflect elimination into the Moira. Now you're deflecting part of their window. Great. Fantastic. But when this deflect ends, you need to not be in extreme amounts of danger. This is not a good place. This is not a good place to be. If you were in here with deflect, this might be an okay place to be. Not an amazing, but an okay place to be. But you're in here with no cooldowns. You're in here with nothing. You're now in here with just your health pool and hopefully evasive movement from double jump. Not even a good wall near you for evasive movement. Just double jump for evasive movement. in 3 enemies. Yes, it got you out of the Windows territory, so they're not shooting you for double damage, but you could have used the back end of your deflect to get behind this or to get behind this. That was no problem. You instead chose to go, no, I'm all inning. It's forward or nothing. It's aggression or nothing. I'm using my deflect. So now you have no cooldowns, and you're in the middle, not on the outside, in the middle of the enemy team. Yes, you're pulling their attention away from the window, but it's not good to pull their attention away if it gets you eliminated. If you pulled their attention away from the window to up here, where you had cover against them, and you go, I pull some attention, but I'm still safe, great. I pull some attention, but I'm still safe, great. This is, no, you're purely trying to rely on their ability to not aim. Your evasive movement and their ability to not aim, and it's really their ability to not aim. And visor may not work for you in that case. And then you're gonna blade. I still don't love it. I still don't love it. It's a little better because you're so close to blade, but I still don't love this. Like, you could have easily been eliminated by the time you had your blade out by that soldier if he'd wanted you. Oof. Like, we're talking about Soldier Bap Hanzo. There's a ton of damage there if they have any, and I mean any aim.
Now show them.
The payload is approaching its destination. To my will.
That's instant of crouching, left him in a situation he couldn't get out of. Yeah, it did. Better. Fine. 5v2, 6v2, you're fine. Okay. There you go. I recognized your icon there, Congaboom. It threw me for a moment, but
Switching sides.
this doesn't scale with rank. Exactly. That's exactly the problem that we're looking at here. Like, we're gonna hit, and I've seen this with Genji players before, where they get good at abusing players. They, like, get good at abusing players, but it causes them to sort of stick to a local level. It's like, okay, you can play above this local level that you're stuck in on the SR bracket because, hey, these people can't aim up effectively. They're not good at hitting those flicks. They're not good at the 180s to get behind them on you, 180 and up a little, like 180 degree turn, 45 angle up. They're not good at that. But that's just evasive movement. And there's no actual, the enemies can't punish you for that. It's just that they don't have the skill yet. And as soon as they do, that thing that you've been building up, this evasive movement, isn't really helping you much anymore. Like, okay, that's worth 30 points in low SR, but then when you go, okay, well, now I want to play in diamond. Well, now that's worth 3 points of survivability. Like, yeah, it's something. It makes them work a little bit harder, but it goes from being worth quite a bit down here to worth not very much here. And you're relying too much on this for your survivability right now. You're too willing to dash in into fights that are not a localized 1v1, that are not this dash is going to get the elimination. You're too willing to go, hey, my deflect is over, but that's just fine. I'm not in cover. I'm nowhere near cover when my deflect is over. You're too willing to go in and fight someone in their face, like, well, I'm going to fight them here. I'm going to dash up here, even though they're a problem, because I need to distract them. And then you're trying to distract them with your movement rather than distract them, which sometimes a Genji has to do. Sometimes a Genji does have to go distract a Hanzo, a soldier, whatever, in an off-angled high ground position, a similar way to how D.Va would, a Widow, whatever. And he's going to do that by going, let me get there, maybe even let me use dash to get there, though I hate that. I'd really prefer you sneak over there with wall climbs and such, and then deflect in their face type thing to help zone them out of the fight at a key moment. But you're not doing any of that. You're just like, no, my evasive movement will save me. No, it will not. Well, for here it will, but if you're wanting to move up, we have to move you up. We have to actually get you playing like the higher level. We don't want to let you sink into habits that you then don't realize, why is this not working when you're trying to climb, even if it's working in this particular game. I'm kind of disappointed that 3v1 worked. Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life, Brayden.
Hello there.
I tell people like, oh, this is the right way to do the game. This is blah 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 blah, and then they just be like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm gonna get rewarded for doing something wrong this time. It doesn't happen every time, but when it happens, it certainly irks. It's certainly irking. But are CDs the same as CCs? No, not necessarily unless you want to consider alt CCs, because you could think of something like whole hog as a CC, but you wouldn't usually call it a CD unless you're calling alts long CDs, which is certainly a valid interpretation. But CD is cooldown. How many seconds you have to wait on these abilities? CDs are your abilities that have timers to them before you can use them again. CCs are crowd controls, which would be things that take away some aspect of control of your character. Boops, stuns, hooks, slows, things like that. There we go. That looked really cool when you just kept getting those dash resets. Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely what you want to do as Genji. You want to set up a nice chain like that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Reddit is full of the montage plays. No enough votes this smart before to watch plays. Yeah, that's about right.
The payload.
Swift as the wind.
You have dash, you're fine. I don't know that I'd walk at this again with... Okay. You had enough help.
I will keep
I
you
require
here.
assistance. Thanks.
Your safety, please be behind the barrier.
Take train, left side. Sure. Don't peek early. Don't peek early. Let them walk in a little. That's fine. You just leave. What? What? What?
I need help.
No kidding, you need help. This is a matchup that every Genji has done 100 times, so I'm not sure what just happened here. Oh, Winston used leap. No big deal. I dash away. No, I don't dash through the Winston, because now I've dashed towards his team, towards his spawn, however you want to think about it here, and he just used leap, and he'll get leap back faster than I get dash back, by the way, unless I get an elimination to reset my dash, which I have no reason to believe I'm going to get. Like, I guess there's the possibility of my getting support healing out here, etc. Now there is an Ana on your team. The Moira's not going to get you here, but like, why would you do this rather than just going, I'm not even going to let you land on me, I'm going to dash away in this direction. Like, and then I'm going to, out of your range, I'm going to keep backing away as I chip you down with shurikens because I have poke damage from range and you don't. Why would you do this? You're in so much more danger than you have to be right now. Like, this is how the Winston Genji matchup works. It becomes a really, at a higher level, Winston tries to sneak up on the Genji if that's what the Winston is trying to do. Mostly, you actually spend a bit of time ignoring each other unless you're fighting for the same staging. But you go, hey, we're fighting for the same staging. The Winston perhaps... Let me give you the low level of this matchup. The low level of this matchup is that Winston leaps on Genji. Genji, before actually getting landed on, dashes out, has a longer cooldown than Winston's leap, but is able to throw shurikens at Winston as Winston tries to walk forward. Winston eventually gets cooldown back to leap, but is not willing to leap on Genji because would be leaping on Genji with half health, less than half health, whatever, and that would cause Winston to, with less than half health, be in melee range of Genji, where Genji will hit triple shurikens, all for crit face damage to him, and Genji will survive and win. If the match plays out like this, which is sort of the basic version of it, this goes wrong. Better Winstons will jump on the Genji and then go, okay, now let me hide behind cover, get healed up a little bit, and now let me jump on Genji again. Well, Genji doesn't have cooldown from cover. Better get Winston still. We'll go, okay, I'm going to sneak up on the Genji, but better Genjis are going to go, hey, maybe I am willing to sort of tank it in the face for a moment to go, hey, you jumped on my face. You jumped on my face. I don't dash out immediately. I jump perhaps to try to avoid some of your landing damage, but then I crit double, triple you in the face once or twice before dashing out. And then I'm able to go, okay, well, now I'm willing to do this again. Now I'm willing to chip you, etc. Like, it gets more complicated, but the very basic version, I expect every Genji to be able to implement, and this wasn't that. This wasn't that.
I need help.
Can Temporal coach me to get up votes on Reddit? Yeah, absolutely. I think McCree's flashbang should reset with each limb. No, we only need one Genji, thank you. Temporal can coach anything. Ask him for his rates on getting up votes on Reddit. There you go. There you go. That fixed the underpowered feeling that Cree has. Ooh. Playing Ring Around the Rosie without any cooldowns. Oh my goodness, you're alive. This is offensive. You were literally just counting on your opponent. Oh my goodness. These are not smart fights. That was not a smart fight. Like, this dash isn't good. Good. You have your cooldowns back. You have health. We're good. Walk up here and throw shurikens at that Ashe. No problem. Fine with me. Don't dash at the Ashe. You haven't done enough damage to her to justify dashing at her, and she's out of your dash range. So you are like, hey, I didn't really get my dash damage. She wasn't low enough, even if I had got my dash damage, for me to guarantee the elimination. And I did need to guarantee the elimination within half a second or less of dashing on her. So really, I'd have liked the dash to be what eliminated her, because I need my dash reset, because there's a Winston wandering around, plus her friends are literally right here. And if I don't take her down in half a second or less, I expect that BAP is going to get a right click on her, going to get a shift on her, something like that. So, like, why would I actually commit with my cooldown before I'm fairly sure I'm going to get her when I'm in such a dangerous spot? And I could have maintained a pretty good spot, a pretty nice spot, a pretty good spot for doing work here. But instead, I'm committing in with my cooldown. I'm glad you got the elimination, because if you hadn't, you had no cooldowns. No cooldowns. And you were stuck behind enemy lines. Whatever. Oh well. McCree's basically always a throw pick. Less a fan of that one, to be honest.
Behind you.
Okay. I guess it's been long enough since you got the Ashelim. Yeah, okay. You just got the Anna, though. Don't bother. Oh, you did lose your Moira. I would have said no. I would have actually said just leave. Like, literally just leave type situation rather than force this, because you've already got 3 of them eliminated and you got the Anna elimination just now, so this isn't really staggering them hard. Because you got the Anna elimination right now. And it's really only 3 seconds later that you've got the Winston elimination. So that's not a very big stagger, if you understand how the staggering works. Gets a little bit of a saving grace in the form of, hey, you bought more time for your Moira to get back. A little bit of a saving grace there. But she's not particularly slow to get back.
Nano boost almost ready.
Sneaky, sneaky. Oh, yeah? Why do you think this is okay? Like, I'm repeating myself. If you dash away, this Junkrat has no ability to punish you. You know all of his friends are right here. You can hear that all of his friends are right here, and you also don't expect that he's missing any health. Unless a teammate communicated to you, Junkrat 1, Junkrat lit, Junkrat half, something like that, sure. In that case, maybe you throw shurikens and dash. You do throw shurikens, and before the shurikens have hit, you dash. If you had that sort of communication and then your teammates lied to you, or you got healed after, or he got healed after the call, and then it's just unlucky, stuck in a bad situation. I have no belief that that's what happened here. And in this situation, if that's not what happened, if you didn't hear a call that Junkrat was low, you go, oh, I'll just dash away, and then I still have the option to pop deflect if I see something scarier than the Junkrat, like the Roadhog, that I need to back out the rest of the way. But I don't dash into this. I know all of his friends are right there, and it's not going to get me an elimination, and I'm not going to count on my ability to get an elimination 1v5, 1v6 in the middle of his friends, even if it's not technically 1v6 because my teammates are helping shoot at this. I'm not counting on my ability to get a dash reset, and my deflect isn't going to last long enough for me to get out. So I just have no desire to be here. None. None. This cover's not good enough. This cover isn't good enough to get you out. And you knew that when you went in.
I require assistance. I am ready.
And we've got the $5 super chat coming in from Congaboom. I tried dating May once. It was really awkward at first because it was impossible to break the ice, but it's okay. We're chill now. Okay, so we've got Congaboom coming in with $5 for the pun. I appreciate that, Congaboom. I appreciate that. Once again, I tried dating May once. It was really awkward at first because it was impossible to break the ice, but it's okay. We're chill now. Yeah, she puts up some walls, man. She puts up some walls, but you can break those down. Just takes a little damage. Okay.
Much better.
This is a pretty bad stomp. Yeah, it is. At least she didn't give you the cold shoulder. We're going full pun mode for this? Okay. Are you making fun of my relationship, Temporal? No, Congaboom. I would never do that. I would never do that.
I return to the fight.
Healing enhanced. Fire in the hole! Heal up.
Why did you think you could do that? That was pure greed. You hear the Winston. You should already be looking for where he's coming from. If you don't know this, so be it. I don't even mind that you don't know this. I'm going to slow this down, though, so I can talk. Oh, I'm taking damage from my left. I still need to dash out. I need to dash out somewhere. Yeah, he might be behind you, but you should have already turned to try to figure out where he is, because a dash out is still going to work for you. He's still going to struggle to keep up with you. He didn't do this perfectly, where it's like, aha, if you dash through me, my Tesla still reaches you. And even if he had, then you just dash in this direction, where you'd have better cover. Or this direction, where, hey, I have teammates over here type thing. Like, there's no reason that you're stuck in this at all. You're just thinking you can greed this. You didn't jump over the shockwave here, so you're going to be in some trouble. And now you have no health, and now you are in trouble. Because you can't dash through him at this point. Now you'd actually be in range. You're going to have to dash at an angle to get away from him. And you really needed to already dash. You shouldn't have got this landing damage unless you exchanged it for headshots. Why are you still here? Why do you think you can fight him? You have dash. Way too late. May is too Velma and not enough Daphne coming in from Blah. Ooh, going with the Scooby-Doo. I like it.
I will not waste this chance.
I'm in.
30 seconds remaining.
You were greeting that Winston fight way too hard. Fine. Shurikens in his face, no problem. Okay. He's starting to get close. Not as much shuriken in face as we'd like, and he has the harmony orbs, so that really just changes this equation. Now you're a bit stuck, because you haven't dashed out yet. He's going to be getting close to his second dash, and you really didn't do enough headshot damage to him. So now you're going to have to dash, and fortunately you've created a window where you can go, hey, I'm going to dash, and then try to immediately break the corner. Like, that's basically what we're going to have to do here. Or we're just going to have to wall climb. If we just hard wall climb, we'll lose him too and force his dash. No, you're too late on the wall climb. You definitely don't force yourself into his face here. He still has that harmony orb, and I'm not seeing enough heals on you to justify this.
I need help.
10 seconds remaining. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Are we playing Overwatch, or are we playing TDM? Like, all this led me to believe that you wanted this fight, you wanted to try to make a stop. If that's the case, you're clearly the guy who's here, you had both your cooldowns, you're going to have to throw yourself at the point. That's just how that works. Yes, it's using your cooldowns wrong compared to how I've been describing it all match, but like, you did have dash and deflect. You absolutely could have gone, hey, I'm going to dash here, and then I have deflect to sustain on the point a little bit while I wait for my next person, my actual tank, to get here and hold the point. You clearly were battling to go take this. If you didn't want it, that's fine, but if you didn't want it, let's cut bait and run. Let's get out already. Instead, you're just going to lose the fight, and they're going to have gone the cards. Or even worse, you're going to win the fight when they got the check.
I am ready. My
Uh,
ultimate, my blade is ready to be unleashed.
pretty decent odds that you could have ended the game there. Okay.
Get into position. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine. You're powered up.
Yeah, so we're getting pretty close to my spawn camp limit. I don't actually have a spawn camp limit. I love spawn camping, but when people want games reviewed, my general rule, I don't do the, spend in a close loss thing that most reviewers used to do. I just say I would like the game to be less than 50% spawn camping. The truth is, we found plenty for you to work on, even with this level of spawn camping, but in general, guys, I would like to, this is about as much spawn camping as I want to see in any game that gets a review request. I wouldn't really want to see much more than this. Because it's generally when this is happening, you're not getting punished. Like, there's too much of you not getting punished. And then when I go like, oh, you're doing this wrong, it's too easy for you to mentally go, oh, well, I'm only doing this because they're playing poorly, or I'm only doing this because we can get away with so much type stuff. And it's like, well, then if you're going to put up barriers like that, it doesn't really help. It's going to be harder for me to teach you how to do it right. Like, and this would be a good example of that too, where it's like, hey, this Genji is relying way too much on evasive movement that will not scale well, but oh, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be using my cooldowns like that if these guys were better, if they could punish me, if they did have better aim, etc. And it's like, okay, well, so you're just putting up walls to resistance. And again, some level of, hey, that's not me saying you just have to take in everything I say as like gospel, etc. I do want resistance. When stuff doesn't make sense to people or when people disagree, they should absolutely say, hey, I don't think so. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't understand why that would be better, etc. Like, this is not me saying I'm going to teach you and you're going to take it. Like, that's not what's going on. That's not what I'm angling towards it all, but like this creates a situation that's not terribly good for learning because your opponents aren't giving you don't have a proper resisting opponent to execute against. That's actually the title for this. You weren't punished enough in this Stomp Gold Genji. If I were getting owned, I would simply do something different. Yeah, yeah. Play from the angle. Sure. Yeah, you just wouldn't dash into this in reality. Like, I mean, I don't know if you would dash into this or not in a game that was closer, but like in practice, you don't want to dash into this situation. This BAP was way too healthy. His hog is too likely to turn around. I don't think you're tracking well enough to know if someone else is going to come out and help him. And now you're sort of stuck in this fight, and your deflect will not last you long enough to get you out. And you have no reason to believe that you're immediately going to get this elimination. Like, the soldier can peek, the hog can turn around. This is not amazing. You're going in before you have him weak enough to believe that you're going to confirm the elimination, and it's not isolated enough. And there you go. Soldier showed up like we expected, and that's why we make sure that if we use our dash, we are very confident we can get the elim within half a second or so, unless that dash is taking us out of the fight. And you can get damage with a dash that takes you out of the fight, takes you to the edge of a fight. That's fine.
Nano boost is charging.
60 seconds.
My ultimate is ready.
My ultimate is ready. Supercharger is ready to deploy.
Sure. Yeah, you're right to wall climb out.
I need help.
And
What is that melody?
yeah, I'd have liked to look a little harder for him because like one of the ways to drive him off is shoot him in the face. But hey, another thing is you can double jump. You can jump enough to make his landing damage less threatening to you. But hey, you have to know where he is for that to work. Typing equals AFK comment here. Yeah, that's true. You're gonna blade in a moment. Are we gonna blade? Are we gonna blade? Are we gonna blade?
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay.
Victory.
So, here's what you need to work on most. You are relying way too heavily on your evasive movement. Like you are just not. I don't know if you otherwise use your cooldowns differently. I don't know if you got challenged, you'd use your cooldowns differently. But based on this game, because that's what we have to review, you were being way too haphazard in your cooldown usage. So when it comes to your dash has to get you resets. Your dash has to either be, hey, I dash, and within half a second, I can get an elimination. I dash to get on top of ranged damage that is alone that I need to fight because I'm stuck in a fight with this ranged damage dealer. Maybe that's a Zen, maybe that's a Hanzo, maybe that's a soldier. And my dash is going to get me on top of them, preferably hurt them, and it's just going to be them and me, and I got to take it because there's no cover available or because they've got to be distracted, etc. But again, they've got to not have friends that can help them if I do this. Or my dash has to take me out of the fight. Doesn't mean I can't get damage out of it, but it could be like, hey, my team is here, the other team is here, there's high ground here, and I go, aha, dash. And I dash, and that took me out of the fight. I now have some degree of safety because I'm out of the fight. I can continue to throw shurikens down, and I got damage out of my dash, but it took me out of the fight. So those are like the three ways that we're looking to use our dash. Those are like the three ways. You're not following these principles, rules of thumb, concepts, whatever, to the degree that you need to. Your dash has to basically look like one of these three. Otherwise, what's happening, because if we're not doing one of these three things, what's happening is we're dashing, into opponents where, aha, there's opponents here, and I dash, and now I'm here, and now this person still has 75% HP, and this person has full HP, and now I'm stuck in a 2v1. And that's going to be a problem. I'm not happy with this situation. Yes, it potentially turns them around, so maybe my teammates can shoot at them, but I'm not super durable. I have deflect. Deflect is not the greatest defensive cooldown in the world, and I've only got 200 HP under that. I'm not Diva, I'm not Winston, I'm not Hammond, I'm Genji. So, like, I really need to play a little more from the off angles, stay a little more on the off angles. I'm there to get my dash reset engine going. I could go like, hey, dash, 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 like you did at the end of third and get a bunch of eliminations. That's totally fine. That's something that we're looking to do. But that's something that we're going to be able to do once we've felt out that the first person is lower health. And then we go, aha, now I can go confirm this elimination with the dash. Or they're down to half health, and so I'm going to throw shurikens and dash, and then maybe I'll turn around and melee again if I have to finally get the finish there, which will get my dash back, which will let me go through the second person and either out of the fight by going through the second person, or if I get the reset from that, back in onto a third, etc. So like we have to be better with these dashes. We really do. And this also applies to our Winston duels, because you were like, oh, a Winston jumps on me. I'm just going to stay here and tank it. No, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave if the Winston's on me. I'm going to dash out of the fight. I'm not going to dash deeper into the fight like you did at the beginning of first over by trains there. That's definitely not what I'm going to do. And if I'm walking up a flank and I run into a Junkrat, that's not an isolated duel. I can hear that his teammates are right there. So I'm going to dash to leave. I'm going to dash out. Because remember, one of our 3 types of dashes are dashes out. Those are okay. I'm not going to dash in on a full health Junkrat and then go, oh, look, he has 5 friends right here. I hope my teammates can heal me. I hope my teammates help me get an elimination so I can get my reset to get out. Not good enough. Not good enough. That's how that works. Like, that's really important. So please fix your dashes. You are counting way too much on your evasive movement, and that will fail you as you go really much higher at all than you are here. Some gold games, you'll get punished for that. Not everyone in gold can punish you for, oh, I'm just counting on my ability to double jump, to play in people's blind spots, to constantly get behind them, to the side of them, to make them move their mouse a lot. Some people in gold will absolutely get rolled by that, as we saw here. But you're going to run into, maybe 1 in 5 players who just goes, yeah, I know how Genji moves. What's your point? Oh, hey, Genji, and they're just going to blow you up because you don't have your cooldowns. The reason you don't have your cooldowns, and I'm saying this plural, is you also don't use your deflect terribly well. You use your deflect and you get some decent damage reflection, but you need to be finishing with your deflect in safety. When your deflect ends, you need to not just be in the middle of the lane, you need to be in safety. You need to be in safety. At least limited safety. High ground could be your safety. Behind your Rhine shield could be your safety. Behind your Orisa shield could be your safety. With cover could be your safety. But you need some level of safety. And we're not looking to go, aha, I dash in, and then I immediately pop deflect to protect me from the 5 people that I'm in the middle of. That's not what we're looking to do. In fact, if we do get that, we also want to be more willing to use our deflect to get out. Because we shouldn't do that, but there's just these situations where you use your deflect, and I want you to go like that. And there's also situations where you go like, hey, let me go, I'm fighting an isolated duel, maybe I'm fighting a soldier, it turns into not an isolated duel, let me use my deflect to leave. You can't cover a ton of distance with your deflect, but you can cover some distance with your deflect, and you should be willing to use that to leave. Genji is much more comfortable picking at the fights from the edges until he's ready to go in and get dash eliminations and use those as fuel to continue his engine to take over a fight. But be more willing to leave. Try to play at the edges of the fight more. You can go, hey, I'm at the edge of the fight. My deflects my dashes can leave me at some safety. Like, hey, I dash when the fight's down here. I dash up here and I go do this work. I'd actually just climb up here, but you get the idea. Or, hey, I'm here. I don't like that the fight is happening here. Let me use my deflect to get myself out of this fight. You're not missing a ton by giving up the last bit of your deflect behind cover. That's not a big deal. The burst time for your deflect is at the beginning when you first pop it. Any Zarya could tell you the same thing about their bubble. That's how it works. People shoot because, they were already expecting to shoot you. They're already in the process of shooting you. Once they see you deflecting, once they see a Zarya bubble is up, once they see a Sigma shift is up, they stop shooting. You're not going to get much out of that. So it's okay to give out the tail end, to give up the tail end and be behind cover for that last instant of it, etc. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I would prefer that you were. So that's what I'm going to give you. You're relying way too hard on your evasive movement, on your ability to play in people's blind spots, jump around, etc. And we're going to upgrade your ability usage of both your dash and your deflect with the specific idea of try to play more at the edges of the fights until you're ready to go in and can actually force that elimination. And you can't force that elimination on full health people. Okay, so that's what I'm going to give you. If you have questions or anyone has questions, they can throw them up in chat now. Remember, please do work through these things one at a time. Don't try to apply all this at once. Be like, I'm going to work on my dashes. I'm going to work on my dashes specifically with like 5 to 15% of my brain power. Specifically working on my dashes, making sure I'm dashing when it's going to serve one of my purposes. Either I can secure the elimination in literally half a second or less, it takes me out of the fight to some degree of safety, perhaps where I can continue to poke from. Out of the fight doesn't have to mean sitting with your team. It can just mean, hey, again, perpendicular to your team, but where the other team can't easily get on top of you. Or it's the what did I say? Elimination, or it's an isolated duel type thing, which they're not going to get help, or they're not going to get help within the next 4 or so seconds. Those are what you're thinking about when you're using your dash like that. And then once you've got your dash, then you move on to your deflect. Your deflect is going to be less important, but still going to matter here. And once you work on both of those, that should help lead to an overall mindset shift of where you take fights and when you go in. That should build nicely to a more general macro understanding there of how to play Genji, at least in the standard ladder style. Your blades were fine. You went hard for staggers with blades, and that was perfectly fine. That enabled what you guys did in terms of spawn camping. I would guess that right now your playstyle and your success, I would guess that your winning games frequently look like this because how you use your blades looks like something that sets up for your team to then do spawn camping. And I would guess you have a combination of tilting people through how you do your stagger blades, as well as you being Genji and what you're planning to do to abuse people as Genji, to abuse their lack of aim, etc. So I would guess most of your games sort of look like this, where they feel a little stompy for the other team, or you sort of get rolled by people who can handle you. Rolled might be the wrong answer, but you're like, why am I getting eliminated so much? This worked in my last 2 games, etc. type thing. I would guess that that's how things usually work for you. And I'm not saying like you tilting your opponents or you're like actively trying to be mean by tilting your opponents or something like that. Though maybe you are. Strategy. I don't care. But I suspect that that's probably how things are happening for you right now on ladder, based on how you use your blades and what you rely on. Like, it's actually more frustrating for a player, I would expect, when it's like, oh, they can't hit the Genji because they can't hit the Genji, not because the Genji has their cooldowns to survive, to get out, etc. But that's not going to scale well for you. Okay. So again, if people have questions, throw them up, questions, comments, whatever, throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Okay. Nano after Blade, that's the winning combo. At Blah, I've had a lot of matches where Genji is waiting for me to nano them, but I want them to Blade first. I added the go on, I can wait voice line to encourage them. Uh, I recommend people watching videos on heroes they don't play just so they know how it works for fighting them, playing with teammates. Learned lots about Genji today. Excellent. Happy to hear that, Val. And yeah, it can definitely help. We go over stuff that matters. I mean, we went over the Genji Winston matchup here. We've gone over the Genji matchup while reviewing soldiers before. Like, we get into this stuff, and knowing both sides of it can certainly be interesting, at least, but also helpful. Yeah, if they're not going on voice to say an anime, it's hard to coordinate. I mean, it's not that hard. It's like they hit Z to show you that they have the blade, you hit Z to show that they have nano, and hopefully then they get it that they go in, and you hitting Z was sort of confirmation that yes, I'll nano you when you go in there. Hopefully that's how it works out. Okay. I'll give you guys another couple seconds for questions here. Remember, if you guys have questions as viewers, the best way to catch me live for these is to join the Discord and go to the Get Notifications channel. If you react there, you'll get the Watchers role, and you can get Discord pings when I go live. So you can be here to ask your questions, derail me onto other topics, all that fun stuff. Hopefully that's how it goes. Yes, hopefully. Okay, looks like that's going to do it. So I think we're going to call it here. Thanks, guys. Oh, hold on. So you think it's generally better to nano before after blade pops? I want to nano after blade pops. What's going to happen is, as Anna with nano, you don't actually want to initiate the fight because you don't want to nano people to encourage them to go in. It's the same thing with a Reinhardt. You don't nano your Reinhardt to try to get him to walk in. You nano him when he's already walking in, or preferably when he's already started swinging. Like he starts to swing, he's in swing range, he starts to swing and he gets nanoed type thing. Or he's in swing range and he gets nano type thing because he's already really started the fight. The Genji starting to pull out their blade is starting to fight. Boom, they get the nano. You're trying not to nano early because the second and the instant an ult goes off, the other team, if they're smart, is potentially going to start kiting, and we don't really want them to kite our nano. We don't want to have to go, hey, our person gets nano and they have to realize they got nano and then go do something. We want to apply it type thing. I figured after to increase uptime, no. Sometimes it's Genji ZZZ, Anna ZZZZ, Genji ZZZZ, Anna gets eliminated, Genji Q, Genji, Anna, where's my nanos? That's about right. Nano when in attack range, right. Nano when they're preferably already initiating, and yes, pulling out your blade counts as initiating. Okay, that's going to do it here. Looks like we're stable, so yeah, we'll call it there. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.